If you're watching this video right now, you're probably in the same position that I was about a year ago. You've just finished your degree and now it's time to look for a job. If that is you, then a massive congratulations. You've just finished your degree, but the best 3 years of your life are now over and now it's time for you to look for a job and try and integrate yourself into the real world. So over the last year since leaving university, I've tried and failed to get myself a job. But in that time, I've managed to find a few ways to try and make someone more employable. And these are the tips I'm going to give to you today. Here are my top 4 post-graduation employability tips.
Just an important note here, you don't actually have to be just a postgraduate to watch this video. You might be still at university, maybe a third year for example, that are wanting to get a head start on employability. So these tips might help you out too.
Number 1, take part in extracurricular activities. Now, this is something that can be done whilst at university, but also once you finish your degree, it's a perfect opportunity to try and do things that are specific to your area of work. Doing things that are outside of your course are a great way of you becoming more employable, because not only are you developing skills, but you've also got things to talk about in things like interviews. Some courses offer activities that are extracurricular that will allow you to become more employable, but others you'll have to find off your own back. Depending on the type of course you do, these could be easy or quite difficult to find. But from my personal experience, the best thing you can do is just send a few emails and see if you can get yourself some work experience. My second tip would be prepared to take a career detour. Absolutely no career is just a straight line, and this is something that I've experienced firsthand. Sometimes the things that you didn't expect yourself to be doing are actually the most beneficial for your career. Whether that be applying for a master's, moving to a different city, maybe even moving to a different country, or something completely different to what you initially set out to do when you started your degree, these things make you a better all-rounded person. Not only are you improving on skills that you didn't think you necessarily needed, but you might find a brand new passion that makes you even more employable. My third tip would be constantly develop your skills. No matter how good you are at something, there is always room for improvement. If this activity is something that makes you more employable, you need to try and get as much from it as possible. So keep learning, keep developing, and keep making mistakes. Mistakes are actually one of the best things you can do to learn and become a better person, and therefore more employable. And my final tip would be, if you have to, make sure you specialise. Now, this is probably only related to things like media production and journalism, but it's still an important note to have. In some job sectors, it's probably best that you narrow down your skills to maybe 1 or 2 things that you can do really well, instead of trying to be a jack of all trades. For example, in the media, it's really hard to apply for everything, because everything has a different skill, whether that be sound designer, editor, producer, director, they all require different skills. So if you specialise, you therefore become more valuable because you become better in that one skill. Not only that, but it also means that you will be reducing your job search so much more. Instead of applying for tens of hundreds of different jobs, you're now applying for only a specific few. And by knowing exactly what you want to do within the specific job sector that you're working in, you're going to allow yourself to filter out the jobs that you're searching for the ones that are most relevant for you. All of the tips that I've just given you really focus on developing yourself, whether that be developing a new skill, a new hobby, a new interest, or maybe even taking a completely different career detour to what you initially expected. Constant evolution is going to make you more employable in the future. Another bonus tip that I have is make your CV as interesting as possible. Now, the majority of people that send CVs into companies are probably just doing it on bland white paper. Something that I did personally is that I started printing my CV on pastel coloured pieces of paper, whether that be blue, yellow, whatever colour you have. Now, I don't know if this definitely did make me more employable, but I personally think that as an employer, instead of looking at 100 different pieces of white paper, if you have one that's a little bit more interesting in the way that it looks, it's going to stand out, which will therefore, technically, make you more employable, or at least more memorable. Now, I'm not saying that all of these tips are a 100% guaranteed surefire way of you getting a job, because if that was the case, I wouldn't be sat here now. I'd have a job. But hopefully these tips are at least a little bit helpful in trying to make you more employable as a postgraduate. If you enjoyed content like this and want to see more, make sure you stay locked to the University of Lincoln's Student Life, as we produce some of the best student-based content around. All of the different types of social media that we have are below me now, and you can also check out our website for more videos and articles. Good luck on your job search, and until next time, I'll see you later.